At first, there was only darkness, an endless, silent abyss where time lost its meaning. Captain Arlen Hayes floated in that void, weightless and detached, convinced he had slipped beyond the final threshold of life. His last memory was the violent explosion tearing through the bridge of the exploration vessel Solace, the blinding flash, the desperate cry of his crew, and then nothing. But something tugged at him, soft, rhythmic, pulling him upward like a voice calling from another world. Light returned in thin, trembling strands. Arlen's eyes opened. A face hovered above him. Humanoid, radiant, and streaked with tears that shimmered like liquid silver. Her skin glowed faintly, a pale, luminous blue that rippled gently with each breath. Strands of hair like flowing starlight framed her delicate, angular features. Her eyes, deep violet and wide with grief, were fixed on him with disbelief. The alien woman was crying. Not the restrained kind of sorrow seen in humans, but a raw, luminous cascade that seemed to pulse with emotion. The glowing tears slid down her cheeks and fell onto his chest, dissolving into tiny motes of light. Arlen's first instinct was confusion. His second was terror. His third was something he could not yet name. He tried to speak, but his voice cracked like dry leaves. Where am I?" The alien woman gasped. Her hand, warm, gentle, and trembling, closed around his. "You live," she whispered, her accent melodic, as though each word was a note in a celestial song. "Stars bless the veil. You live." Arlen blinked, trying to process the impossible. "I thought I was dead." "You were?" she whispered. "For a moment long enough to break me." She pressed her forehead briefly to his hand, and her shoulders shook. Arlen lay silent, stunned. Her grief was not the cold, formal mourning of a stranger. It was intimate, personal, as though she had lost something precious when she thought he had died. As his vision cleared, he realized he was lying inside a translucent pod filled with faintly glowing mist. Strange glyphs hovered in the air around him, suspended like holographic fireflies. Beyond the pod's open frame, he saw a large chamber, smooth, crystalline, and alive with veins of light running through the walls like circulating energy. It wasn't a ship he recognized. It wasn't any technology known to humanity. He was somewhere else entirely. The woman finally drew back, wiping her luminescent tears. She studied him with a mix of awe and vulnerability. "My name is Lyra," she said. "You were brought through the rift after your vessel broke apart. Your body was almost beyond saving. I refused to let you go." Her voice quivered on the last sentence. Arlen's chest tightened. Gratitude mingled with bewilderment. "Why?" he asked softly. Lyra hesitated, her eyes lowering for the first time. "Because the moment your mind brushed mine as the rift pulled you in, I felt you. Your fear, your courage, your longing not to die. Your memories echoed through me." Her hand settled over her heart, where a faint glow pulsed beneath her skin. "I could not let such a soul vanish." Arlen struggled to sit up. She immediately supported him, her movements gentle but strong. "Careful," she murmured. "Your form is still aligning." "Aligning?" Arlen echoed. Lyra nodded. "Your biology had to be reconstructed. The rift does not bring matter through intact. I restored you cell by cell, guided by the imprint your consciousness left." Arlen froze. "You rebuilt me?" Her cheeks glowed with a faint lilac blush. "Yes. I wove you back into existence." He stared at her, overwhelmed. He wasn't merely saved, he was remade. A long silence stretched between them, filled with unspoken questions. Finally, he found his voice again. "What are you? Where am I?" "I am Illyrian," she replied. "A keeper of the veil. You are aboard the Seraphis, our sanctuary between star realms. The rift opened near your collapsing vessel. We heard your dying thoughts." A chill went through Arlen. "My crew. Did anyone else survive?" Lyra's expression darkened. I am sorry. The rift only touched you. His heart clenched. The loss hit him like a physical blow. Lyra touched his shoulder lightly, not intruding, simply offering presence. You carry their memory inside you, she whispered. It is a light that will never dim. Her empathy, so immediate and sincere, steadied him. After a moment he asked, Why were you crying when I woke? Lyra exhaled shakily, her voice almost a whisper. Because I feared I had failed you. Because I felt your spark fading as I fought to restore you. Because... She hesitated, then looked directly into his eyes. Because in the short time our minds were bound, I grew to care for you more than I should. Arlen's breath caught. He had no memory of their mental connection, but somehow, deep inside, there was a strange sense of familiarity, as if he had known her through a dream he'd forgotten. Lyra stepped back slightly, regaining composure. You must feel disoriented. I will take you to the orrery. Seeing the star fields may help ground your mind. With slow, careful steps, she guided him out of the healing chamber. The corridors of the Seraphis were breathtaking, arched crystalline walkways filled with drifting lights that hummed gently like distant choirs. The air was cool and carried the faint scent of something sweet, like dusk rain on alien blossoms. Finally, they entered a vast circular room. The ceiling was transparent, revealing an impossible vista. Swirling galaxies, luminous nebulae, and rivers of cosmic light flowing like living currents. Arlen staggered, overwhelmed by the beauty. Lyra stood beside him, watching him with quiet tenderness. This is the orrery, she said, a window to all we protect. He turned to her. Why show me this? Because you deserve to know the truth, she said softly. You were not just saved. You were chosen. The rift never opens without purpose. Arlen swallowed. Chosen? For what? Lyra reached out, taking his hand with surprising certainty. For a life that is no longer bound to the world you came from, she whispered. For a destiny that begins with the moment you opened your eyes and found me crying beside you. He looked into her glowing violet eyes, into their depth, their sorrow, their fragile hope. For the first time since the explosion, Arlen felt alive, completely, undeniably alive. And though he hadn't yet understood his place in this strange new realm, he knew one truth with absolute clarity. He was not alone. Not anymore. Lyra's hand tightened around his, a silent promise in her touch. And together, beneath the infinite tapestry of stars, their intertwined destinies began.